How we doing today, everyone out there in MNC Hoops Nation? As you can tell, we're a little bit thin tonight. Nick, who is already in our YouTube comments, thank you, Nick. It's me. It was my fault. As you can see, it's not my usual background and everything. I've got an echo going in my ears right now, and it's driving me crazy. I may have to go with one ear. But I apologize. I turned on my computer, was up with everything, and then all of a sudden it said updating. So I had to go with plan B, rush up here and try to get everything set up. CJ was very patient waiting on me, and I appreciate that. But CJ, how you doing today?
All is well, brother. Yeah, our guy Nick is not here today. He's in Atlanta right now. I was just at the Hawks game versus the Pacers. Had a great time up there. I think he linked up with the Hoopers podcast as well. So doing a little bit of networking, and looking at with the Hawks. Obviously, we know he writes for the Sports Illustrated, covering the Atlanta Hawks. So that's why he's not here today. But definitely gonna have our brother back next week.
Absolutely. For myself, other than everything going on, the craziness now, it's been a very hectic week with my work life, parent life, just the whole 9 yards of that. But you know what? Our kids little league is over. My son finally made a basket. Of course, it was a free throw. I had to be at work to get to see it. But my daughter got a busted nose. So, that's how it goes. One gets a point, one gets a busted nose, bleeds everywhere with 2 minutes left to go in the game. I get pictures of seeing how it is, but she's happy. She's okay. No broken nose. And we shot some ball today in between churches, so she's not scared of the game, so that's good.
That's good. That's great.
That was the main thing I feared.
Hey, listen, she's gonna continue to love the game. She wants to, like I said, even after that, she still wants to hoop. That's a good look.
Absolutely. It made me nervous because she's a little girly girl. I'm not gonna lie. She's still trying to. She's a tall girl. She's 6 years old. She's probably almost 4.5 feet now. Like, she's a head taller than my son. They're the same age, born on the same day. They're not twins. I can't say twins, but they're same day, same year. We adopted one. They were born on the same day. It's great. But anyways, so she's a little clumsy still. Like, she does the alligator hands, which you try to catch the ball. I'm trying to teach her, hey, get the hands up, protect the face on that. And I told her today, because she took one to the head outside while we were playing today. I was like, listen, if you don't catch it like this, you're going to be in trouble, because you're going to take another one to the nose and bleed some more. But CJ, I use that word trouble for a reason, because there's somebody else that may be in trouble right now. Is Dallas in trouble with what's going on there? I think last week we talked about them. They were in like the 5th seed, I think.
Yes.
And right now, they're not even in the play-in game, are they?
No, they're 11th right now in the Western Conference. Yeah, they're in the Western Conference. So, yeah, lost two straight to the Charlotte Hornets, who I believe were 25-51, and they're obviously looking towards the lottery, and Dallas, they need every W. Most of these teams, really from the 6th seed down, they need as many W's as possible to try to either get in that top 6, Golden State's top 6 right now, or into the play-in. So it's just they've been struggling. Luka came out on the press conference, post-game press conference last game, and said he just hasn't had that smile, hasn't had that energy that we're accustomed to seeing from him. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, people are going to automatically jump and say it's because of Kyrie. It's just it's so easy to do that. I don't know. In regards to that, I don't have no idea. I don't know what's going on in his personal life. Hopefully all that's going well. But on the basketball side, it's really what I expected. When you lose Dorian Finney-Smith, you lose some of those other wings that got you to the Western Conference Finals last year defensively. Now you don't have that. So your perimeter defense isn't great. Your 2 best players on the team are not great perimeter defenders to begin with. You don't have a rim protector. Kleber is your 5. He's not protecting the rim. He's a stretch 5. He's not even a two-way stretch 5 like Brook Lopez. So you got to get stops. And, yeah, just because you got 2 guys that can score 50 or 40 like we saw a couple weeks ago, that doesn't necessarily guarantee you a W. And they're really figuring that out. And then also from a scheme standpoint, it's the 4 out, 1 in. set the screen or 5 out if Kleber's out there, and we know that scheme has a shelf life. If you check out my Knicks Boulevard IG reel, I implement shameless plug. Shameless plug. If you check out my IG reel, a couple last week, I put a Kobe clip. Kobe was talking to Rachel Nichols. He was also with Tracy McGrady, and he was explaining why the isolation style doesn't win championships. And this is coming from Kobe, a guy that people deemed as a ball hog, as a Chuck, and he's saying you can't win a championship this way. So it's just so crazy to me how that clip's been out for like 4 years, maybe 4 or 5 years, and this guy has 5 championships, but yet we still see teams in the NBA run isolation to the core. It's baffling to me. Jason Kidd, one of the best point guards of all time, high IQ. You would think he would know that as well. I feel like yes, it works because you have 2 talented guys. They're going to get to their spots, plus the spacing. But it's just a shelf life on that scheme, especially in the playoffs, because the defense is in front of you every time. And that's one of them from an X's and O's standpoint. That's why they're struggling. They don't have the defense, and their scheme could cause stagnant offensive possessions. What's your thoughts on what's going on in Dallas, brother?
Goodness, this is going to bug me. It seems like compared to what they had last year with Brunson, your guy Brunson, with Luka, everything seemed to work well. Of course, they had some other pieces as well that had just worked out perfectly, especially playoff the Suns, as Nick would fuss at me if I would have to say my Suns. That horrible game 7 that we don't even want to talk about, that the Mavericks just did whatever they want to. And Luka looked like it was schoolyard basketball, basically. He could do anything he wanted to, pick up, and it just destroyed. And Brunson was a great Robin to that team. And I almost feel like the Mavericks splurged a little bit by getting Kyrie, almost to say, hey, let's lick our wounds for what we lost with Brunson and see what he's doing. Let's get that, see if we can replace that back. I'm not at all saying Kyrie's the fault. I just feel like they're going to take a little more time what we thought to gel together. There's been times that we've seen in a close game where Lucas said, I should have passed it to Kyrie, just to know what they're going to be doing at the end of games. If they don't make the play-in game, I'm shocked. And, of course, I know they're out now, and there's like 7-8 games left. So it's going to be tough for them to get back into it now. But still, this team, I feel like if they can make it into the playoffs, they can still make a lot of noise. Like when you have Luka on the team, when you got Kyrie on the team, which we just talked about, even here, UCJ talk about how you got to have more than that. They've done it in the past with that, and they can make it work. Now, do I think championship ring? Absolutely not. But I do think a series, round 1, round 2, possibly they can hang in there to where they still contend. I do think Wood is a year away to stepping up and being more of an offense, and I do think a little bit of Jason Kidd not involving him a little bit more. It seems like watching some of the games, he'll have a stretch of about 15 minutes where he's really involved in the offense, and then the rest of the game he just kind of disappears. So it is a little bit of a panic mode. A panic button might be hitting here. I was actually trying to pull up here. I didn't get to it. Let me see if I got it here. The last games here, they've got Pacers, the 76ers, Heat, Hawks, Kings, Bulls, and Spurs. So even those last 8 so many games, some of those games are going to be teams that are battling to get in still. Pacers are knocking at the door to that play-in game. I think they're like a 13th or 12th. The 76ers are trying to move up. I don't know what that word is, but trying to move up still. The Hawks are still in the top 10. Can't remember where they're at right now. Kings still trying to make noise in that 3-4 spot. The Bulls, I think, are 10 right now, so they're still trying to move up to get to maybe that 8th seed. And the Spurs, okay, they don't want to win. So that's a game that you're going to be able to win because they're trying to win for the draft pick. So out of these next 7 games, I would say the Pacers and the Spurs are really their games should be given. The rest are going to be a battle. And looking at the standings right now in the West, they are one game out of 10th place, and that's behind the Thunder and the Lakers. So they do have a chance, because I was looking – we'll get into that part a little bit more. What bothers me, and getting a little more, I guess, ripping some layers off of the onion, is Luka seems to be more upset and is being more vocal about it. I don't think Luka's really been much of a player that's talked much to the media about how he feels, what's going on, happy or sad, whatever his emotions. But something's changed in that locker room or in that atmosphere that he's saying he's lost his joy. And that's tough. If you lost your joy to play, there's a huge problem, because Luka has made it obviously known that he don't really care much. Like, he's out here to have fun. He's going to play and get 40 points, a triple-double, and then he's going to smoke 4 cigarettes and go get drunk too. Like, he's just having fun. So for him to say he's lost that, to me, that holds up red flags for that Maverick front office right now. You've got to keep Luka happy. If it's Kyrie and Luka not getting along because these losses are happening, between you and me, CJ, and as I'm asking, I'm going to bring you back up to my camera here. If this were to go on and the end of the season and Luka comes up to the front office and say, I don't like Kyrie, do you think they make some moves? Now, I'm not saying that's what it is, because I feel like so many times in this, especially this year, people have gunned at, let me change the words gun, because Morant and all that whole thing, has really attacked at Kyrie this year with just off-ball stuff. So I don't want to be associated with that. I think Kyrie's a good person, a good player, and everything. But if these two are bumping heads or too big of alphas, Kyrie's got to go with it if that's a problem, don't you think?
Yeah.
Take a drink of this beautiful M&C cups.
Nice cup, brother. Nice cup. Coming soon. I'll start off before we get to that. You said why he lost his joy. I mean, maybe because they're not moving the basketball. Like, when it's just a one-man show or a two-man show.
True.
The other three guys on the court is just standing in the corner or standing in the wing the whole game. That's not fun. That's not fun, watching two guys just do everything. And then, you might get the basketball with like 5 seconds left on the shot clock. It's just, you can't work with that. You can't work with that as a team. So I think they need to move the basketball. Why aren't they cutting to the basket? I rarely see guys cut to the basket in the NBA today. All the passes are just on the 3-point line, the whole possession. Most possessions, all these passes, it's just at the 3. It's crazy to me. No one tries to put any pressure on the defense in terms of cutting to the basket, going to the paint. And when we've seen historically, that also opens up the spacing. It's just very weird. And De'Aaron Fox came out and said, he doesn't like college basketball. Doesn't like watching it. You can say the same thing for the NBA as well. It's just 10 more talented guys in the NBA. So we're enamored by their talent. But from a schematic standpoint, everybody pretty much runs the same thing with the exception of a few teams. So that's a factor. If he goes to the front office and says if they want to get rid of Kyrie, of course, they're going to make that move. He's the guy. It's his team. I don't know if that's the case. They've only played 11 games together, if that. I know they've been around for maybe like 12, 13 games. So it's just not. And then Kyrie's missed time, Luka's missed time during that time frame as well. So I just feel like, one, they need to get some chemistry going. Really, that's the key thing. They need to get some chemistry going and change up that scheme and play defense. If your two best guys are not playing defense, the rest of the team is not going to follow suit. They're just not. You have to bring that type of identity to the basketball court for your team. So those games, you said Pacers and you said Spurs, right? Pacers and Spurs. Yeah, you would think those are layups, but they just lost to the Hornets two games in a row. So you can't even consider those easy W's. It's just they're crumbling. They need a leader They need a leader to kind of bring things together. I don't know who that is. Is that Luka? Is it Kyrie? Maybe Kyrie doesn't feel like he needs to be as vocal because he just got there. I'm not sure. Maybe it has to be Kidd, since he's a former player. He would understand these guys. The discussion needs to be had, because this is it. I mean, there's only 1 week left, pretty much 10 days left in the NBA season. So you don't want to look back a couple weeks after the season like, man, I wish we would have did this, wish we would have did that. Kyrie's not the problem. I don't believe he's the problem either, brother. You know how I feel about Kyrie. He does have his moments where it's tricky, but I feel like a lot of it is, he's opinionated. A lot of his opinions don't fall in line with everyone else, or what society thinks is right, or what they should say or supposed to say. So he has a different opinion, and as soon as you have a different opinion than somebody else, that's when they start to label you and call you other things. So I think, as opposed to just having more of a conversation with him and learning about who he is, they rather shun him out and call him names. So very weird. But from a back to basketball, it's now or never for a lot of these teams, but more so for Dallas, because they were in a really good spot before Kyrie got there, and that's what people are going to say. It's unfortunate. Is it fair? No. But since you're in that position now, and if they don't get themselves out of it, that's the narrative that the media is going to create. We already know how they feel about Kyrie already. So if those guys, everybody 1 through 15, need to really come together and lock in for this last 10 days.
Now, Vince, I'm going to say real quick on Facebook, he's got a comment or two coming in here about the Lakers. We're going to get to that, but I want to ask you this real quick too. I don't want to say Kyrie is the problem, like I've already said that, but is it that Luka is so laid back? I don't want to say lethargic, but like he just is a little bit easygoing about this, that Kyrie's coming in and maybe trying to change stuff and be a little more aggressive, a little more quote unquote serious about this, and that's causing some turmoil in the locker room, that dividing them. And I'm not saying Kyrie's a problem, but Kyrie is the new person, and they just did what I think a 4-loss in a row streak. That's what it's called. And then they won a couple. Then they're like 4 losses in a row or 3. So I mean, and again, like you said, they've not played well together, but something's going on in there that they're not winning. Like they should have beat the Hornets.
Yeah, both games easily should have beat the Hornets. The first game, I believe that might have been Friday or Thursday. They slept on them in the first half. They just played lackadaisical, like you said, lethargic. That was their mindset in that game. And you just can't sleep on teams in the NBA. Everybody has talent. Just because everybody doesn't win doesn't mean they're deprived of talent. And if you sleep and you lack on these teams, you could definitely get beat any given night. Kevin, what's going on? Roster stinks. I agree. They don't have the roster to win a championship at all. We kind of talked about that at the top of the segment. Appreciate you for stopping by.
Absolutely.
They don't have the defenders. They don't have the rim protectors to even contend against anyone. So it's more than just 2 guys dropping 40 every single night when you want to win. And it's crazy. Kyrie knows that. And I don't know. I just really can't answer that question that you asked, because I'm not.
We're not in the locker room.
Yeah, we're not there. We don't know.
Right.
We really don't know what's going on. And but I'm just saying what they're going to do. What the media is going to do if somehow they don't make the playoffs. Mm-hmm. We know the automatic scapegoat. We just do. So hopefully that's not the case. Hopefully they somehow get in the play-in or something like that. So. Mm-hmm. We can see them back in the playoffs, because they're gonna say how you go from the Western Conference Finals last year to just in the playoffs. I could see it now. I could see it. I could see it now on Undisputed, First Take, all these shows, NBA Today, that they're gonna. How did they make the play? How did they make the Western Conference Finals last year but missed the play? And it was like, what's the common denominator? And then there you go. It's just they're ready for it. They're so ready to attack Kyrie, bro. So I hope that's not the case, and I hope they get into this playoff.
Now, I've got to bring this comment in because it kind of aggravates me a little bit.
Aggravates you?
Of course, it's Nick. We got to start looking at J. Kidd. I feel like he's gotten a pass. Now, this is why it aggravates me. When the Lakers started off this season and was playing trash, I started saying, how come Ham isn't getting any repercussion on this? And, Nick was one to defend him and say, oh, it's his first year. He's a rookie, all this stuff. But this just now started happening. Like, they have been in the top 4, top 5. I think even once they're up as high as third in the West. So they've went on a losing streak just in the last 10 to 15 games of a couple of streaks here. I don't think you can blame Jason Kidd because, again, out of these 11, 12 games, like, they've not really played together. So do you agree with me that it can't be Kidd's fault on this?
Well, I mean, Kidd has to have some type of blame. He is the head coach. Also, again, you go back to the scheme, schematically standpoint, and what's successful, what's not successful. He does definitely have some blame because it's no way this guy's been playing basketball, coaching basketball for let's say 3 decades, right? Probably 4, and you don't know that a heavy isolation scheme doesn't produce championship. I think about it all the time. Like, these guys watch film, they have scouts, and they still just run the same ski over and over and over again. I'm just like, it's not going to work. We've never seen a championship team we've never seen a team win a championship playing that way. Why do you guys keep doing it?
Let me interrupt you real quick too.
Kidd does deserve some blame for sure. Now you go ahead.
It's just, Jason Kidd is my favorite player in the NBA because he's a pass first kind of point guard. But, like, this is not even his style of how he played. Like, you get some of these coaches that, like, hey, I mean, I'm going to say Steve Kerr, known for shooting, and he's changed the NBA in his coaching style with, of course, he had Thompson and Curry as well, who are knockdown threes, and all of them together has changed the whole way of playing NBA. But Jason Kidd is not an isolation type kind of guy player. It's a pick and roll, alley-oop, pass the ball over here, find the open person to get it there and deliver. But his coaching style has been isolation. Is it because that's what they have? And we're up 22 minutes. We probably spent way too much time on this Dallas. But, I mean, is it him coaching different because of what his roster is? Or do you think this is what he wants to coach? Because, when he was in the Bucks, he had Giannis.
Yeah, well, yeah, obviously the talent on your team definitely dictates what you run. But so far, since he's been with the Mavericks, that's what I've seen. I've seen the isolation basketball. I've seen the isolation basketball for sure. Since he's been coaching the Dallas Mavericks. It works in the regular season. It works in the regular season because 29 other teams don't have elite defenders every single night. So, if you have a top 5, top 6 player in the NBA, if you have 2 top, let's say top 20 players in the NBA, yes, you could tween, dribble, the whole game and be successful. And if they double, kick it out you could do that successfully in the regular season. Sure, of course. But when you're playing the same team every other game and teams are scheming, schematically scouting, trying to find ways to stop you, that is just there's just a shelf life on that way of playing basketball. So so far that's what I've seen from Kidd. So yeah, I agree with Nick. He definitely deserves some type of blame also, for sure. It's a whole thing. You can't just look at the players in a 4-game losing streak and just say it's just the players. I know it hurts. I know it hurts, man. But he got to lock in and change some things up too. But I doubt they're going to change anything at this point. I mean, the season's already done, so it's tough. It's tough, man. We'll see how they respond in these next couple of weeks.
Yeah, I think this very next game with the Pacers, I can't remember if it's home or away, but that game should be all focus. Hey, win at all costs, because that's going to set the pace as you continue on. Pace, Pacers. But ready to move on to our next topic.
Yes, sir. Big news today. It came out this afternoon that LeBron was going to be cleared to play this afternoon against the Chicago Bulls. He was going to be coming off the bench. I believe it was like they said 15 to 20 minute restriction. They ended up playing 30 minutes because they tried to make a run in the second half of that game after being down. Went up against the Bulls. The perimeter defense for the Lakers in that first half was atrocious. It really was. I mean, guys were just getting to the basket at will. Levine was just easy. It was way too easy. And they had to play catch up the whole game. You have to play perfect. When you give up leads like that, I think they were down 20 at one point. it's just tough. Then you have to make shots and get stops. You have to be perfect, and that's just a tough thing to do in today's NBA because guys are so good on the opposing side. AD was in foul trouble. Really couldn't stay on the court. Have his impact on both ends this afternoon. So it was rough. LeBron, he played well. He really didn't look like he missed a beat. He was getting to the basket, getting to the rim at will, post ups, rising over guys for jump shots, doing his thing. He did a pretty good job at the free throw line. But defensively, they were lacking. They really were, because it's unfortunate because on Friday when they went up against OKC, the defense was there. It was there. They just, especially in that fourth quarter, they really locked in and got some key stops, especially when Shai Gilgeous-Alexander was trying to get it going. It was definitely a good defensive effort from them on Friday, but tonight just wasn't the case. And listen, they were 500, and everybody's so like this is the first time they were 500 in 400 days, and it was like a celebration on social media to be 500. And now, they're back under 500 because
just like that
they didn't play well, and this race is going to be so tough. This race is going to be tough to the end, man, in this Western Conference, because similar like what you said earlier, the discrepancy between 6 to 11 is about a game or two. Mm-hmm. And the teams that they're going up against that we deem easy dubs, they know that. So they want to spoil these teams' chances of getting to the playoffs. They don't care. Yeah, we got 52 losses in the season. So what? But we missed the playoffs, and we're going to stop you from making the playoffs too.
And it being the Lakers plus LeBron
coming back. We don't want LeBron to get. No, we're going to stop. Oops. We're not going to have LeBron come back and they're going to go on this special run. No, absolutely not. We're going to go out there and play our hardest. And the Bulls, they're a team that they're trying to stay in that play-in situation themselves. So the Lakers should have came out with that same type of intensity as Chicago did, and they didn't do that. Patrick Beverley made a quote and talked about. Yeah, exactly. I'm gonna bring it all together too. he said we're trying to stop the Lakers from making the playoffs, and the AD responded after the OKC game, so he could come try. Here we are tonight. The game started to get close. I think Lakers tried to bring it to single digits with about 2 minutes left. Pat Bev did a little spin floater. LeBron was right there, and he did the "You Too Small" celebration on Braun, and then he did the Lakers stake. He did it to Shannon Sharp. Shannon Sharp was courtside. So it's entertaining. That's what he does. That's what he does. And since he got picked up by the Bulls, they've been playing great defense. They've been playing great defense. I know his energy, his voice, and what he brings to the table. I know he's not a superstar, but he's a really good role player. And you need players like that, and they needed him because DeRozan and Levine are not great perimeter defenders. So if you have someone in that starting lineup that brings that type of intensity, especially on the perimeter, it's a good look. They're playing small right now. They have DeRozan at the power forward, Vucevic at the 5, who got ejected during this game for just 2 quick texts. He got out of there. Now I was like, oh man, this is perfect for the Lakers. But it actually hurt them because Drummond is more of a presence in that middle, especially from a rebounding standpoint, and defensively than Vucevic. So when AD really couldn't have his way like that against, like we would expect maybe against Vooch, against Drummond. Drummond's a bigger body. It's going to be tough to get around him. It was a struggle, and he ended up getting in foul trouble and ended up getting frustrated as well. So tough loss for the Lakers, but it's right back to the drawing board, man. You got Phoenix coming up soon. KD should be back during that game. Got to lock in. That's going to be that's going to be a great game. I can't wait for that one. What's your thoughts on
the next few games that they have? They play the Bulls again at Chicago, which should be great to watch. Then they have the Timberwolves, the Rockets, the Jazz, Clippers, Suns, and finishes out against the Jazz. So that's tough because the Bulls are, again, the 8th seed trying to still battle in. You just lost to the Like they have the confidence that they could beat you again. Timberwolves are playing for those play-in games as well. The Rockets could care less, but it's spoiler for the LeBron Lakers. And then you got the Jazz twice that are also playing in for those playing games. And then the Clippers and Suns want to prove that they are on top as well. But, I just want to say a couple of things about this. Congratulations to LeBron for being back. But did you know that while LeBron was gone, that without LeBron, the Lakers were 12-7, and 11 of the games that they won were against playoff teams, if you count at least one game against the Mavericks when they were in the playoffs. Right now, of course, they're out. So 11 of their 12 wins were against teams that are in the playoffs right now or the playoff picture. And also this, I thought this was kind of ironic, and I just seen this as I was looking some stuff up and hear that you said that their defense was kind of trash. They had the second best defense. I'm sorry, let me say that again. Second best defense rating overall at 113 in the last 10 games, went up to 117. So I might have said that kind of crazy. Let me back up again. They were 113 had them at 22nd over the whole season, but in the last 10 games, it's been 117, which is 4 points higher. That has them as the second best overall defense in the league while LeBron was out. Now, I ain't trying to hate on LeBron, but I have a podcast that I have to do that at. Let's just be honest. So they honestly play better defense without LeBron, and we've watched many times that he kind of spaces out. It is what it is. But, of course, it's his first game back. Offensively, he's not going to miss a beat. We know that. But this team has really stepped up in many ways, and I'm going to bring in a couple of these comments. Vince, finally getting your comment in here. He was saying he's a Lakers fan, and he loves what they've done at the trade deadline, making some of the moves. I'm just kind of paraphrasing this. Injuries, blah, 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 and making better depth. I think they definitely answered that and made better wing players as well than what they had. And, of course, he said that Lakers are making from their mistakes from 2 years ago at their depth matters. So we do see that some of this has been a problem. Vince, thanks for your comment. Of course, joining as well.
Yes, sir. Appreciate
the Lakers do what?
No, I said appreciate you, Vince. Thanks a lot, man.
The Lakers, as much as I hate them and hate LeBron, if LeBron, and I'm going to say this on purpose, if LeBron can gel with the Lakers, because the Lakers are 12-7 without him, this could be a scary team coming into the playoffs. And I know you've been saying it, CJ, and it makes me mad to even acknowledge that. But D'Lo has been outstanding for this team, don't you think? Like, he's been one of those X factors, or like, hey, we didn't know this trade would make that much value.
Absolutely. He's playing phenomenal. The only thing for him is injuries.
Yeah.
That's exactly. He has to stay healthy. Right on cue. Great minds think alike, because that's really been his concern, even when he was in Brooklyn. He's just having these knick-knack injuries that just been keeping him out of some games. If he plays this game, maybe things are different. But they still should have got this W. You got LeBron and AD out there. They have enough solid role players to get this win tonight against a Bulls team. No excuses. And to your point about the defense being better with LeBron out, I don't. It's tough to look at it that way. I see it from we need to win these games, so we need to do everything possible to get into the playoffs. So we're in a good spot for when LeBron comes back. I think that's what it was. I think that's what it is more so than anything. Yeah, sure. Does LeBron coach sometimes on defense? Absolutely. A lot of players do it. No player plays defense 100% of the time for 48 minutes. It just doesn't happen. So does he coach at times? Sure, but I think the reason why they understood, like, listen, we have a really good team right now, even without LeBron. We got Anthony Davis, who could score, 30 plus a night, any night if he wanted to, if he really wants to. Let's lock in and let's try to win these games that are very winnable. So when our other leader comes back, our main guy comes back, then
I like that better. Stick with that.
we can make this push and potentially try to win a championship. So it's just small things. They lost by 10, they were down by 20. So again, attention to detail was the key thing for them tonight. And you just can't have these lapses now. You can't afford to have these types of lapses right now. You just can't. In October, sure. November, yeah. in late March, early April? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. So this is the position that they're in. So because of that, they have to do everything possible to get these W's.
With that being said, let's go to a player that's probably has more controversy going on right now that we can at least talk more about in his return. Of course, Ja makes his return, and just lost my whole train of thought there. Who'd they play today, or their last game?
They played tonight. I'm about to pull up the screen for you guys.
Okay, there we go. Oh, they played Dallas tonight, didn't they? No, that's for my other notes. Sorry. Well, I'll ramble while you get it pulled up. Of course, Ja Morant, who has stepped away from the game for probably about a week and a half, maybe 2 weeks now, with some controversials that went on with a handgun with a club, I'll say. While he was in Denver, we had some stuff going on where a investigation from the Colorado police checking everything out, airplanes, blah, blah, blah. So he took some time off to self-evaluate, get away from the game, had no connections with Memphis or any front office for a few days to get his head on straight, basically. So I think they suspended him a total of 8 games, wasn't it? Somewhere to that.
Yeah, he was around eight games. Yep. Came back on Wednesday against the Rockets.
Okay, so with that, even though he's gone, as you can see in our headline, unless you're listening to us on podcast, the headline on NBA.com says Morant leads Grizzlies to 6 straight win. Of course, this is his first game back over Atlanta. Of course, Nick was at that game, I think, today. So hopefully we'll get some good stuff from him on some conversations going on there. But it's great to have him back. We've missed him. The NBA loves him. But, CJ, what do you think about his return and everything going on with this?
Yeah, glad to see him back. Glad to see him definitely right from a mental standpoint. Hopefully everything off the court is settled in regards to what's going on in his personal life for sure. But, from a basketball standpoint, this has always been a really good team. Even when he was out, we know what the 21-5. We know that stat when he was out last year and how well they played. They moved the basketball. It's not just one player doing everything now. Obviously, when Ja's there, he's the guy, so he does do most things for them. But when he's not out there, anybody can have a really good night. Jaren Jackson Jr. has really stepped up during those few games where Ja was out. He's been scoring more, being more aggressive offensively. We know what he brings to the table from a defensive standpoint. Now he's becoming more of a efficient two-way player. And I think that's great. Because that's the question for me is who's that next guy in complement with Ja when it's time in the playoffs? Who's going to be that second guy? If it's him, if it's Bane, I think if it's him, I think if it's Jaren Jackson Jr., I think that's the best scenario because what he does defensively as well. And they've been hitting on all cylinders. Again, they have this underdog mentality. They have this underdog mindset. Okay, we don't have Ja. You think we're gonna lose? You think we're gonna come out here and just lay down? You're crazy. You're crazy. We're gonna come out here and blow you out just like they did against Golden State last Saturday. Blew them out by 30. We're gonna beat these teams that you think we can't defeat, and by a really good margin as well. So, can they make a run? The West is wide open right now, in my opinion. I truly believe that. Nuggets are the number 1 seed, but they have flaws. Kings have their issues. Every team in the West right now, they're all talented. The talent pool is endless, but from a team standpoint, there are some criticisms for each squad. So any team could be beat in a 7-game series. I'm liking this team, man. I really do. I know they lost Brandon Clark. He tore his Achilles. Prayers up. Steven Adams should be back soon. It's a big body that you need. Taylor Jenkins, obviously one of the best head coaches in the NBA. They absolutely have a shot. They do have a shot. The way Ja's playing, just had 27 tonight against Atlanta. Hasn't missed a beat at all. What's your thoughts on can they make a run? Can they make a run?
Now, I want to ask you this: when you say can they make a run, is that at the rest of the season, or are we talking about in the playoffs?
I'm saying Western Conference Finals.
Okay,
minimum. That's what I'm saying.
If you guys have ever watched this show in the recent 3-4 episodes, you will hear me say that Memphis is a great in-season team. But when it comes to playoffs, even last week, I'm going to move my camera down just a tad bit because that's in my face. There we go. But even last week, I said if they was in a matchup in the first round against the Mavericks, I think the Mavericks had too much superstar power that would put them out first round. I'm sorry, guys. Hi, my name is Michael Lawson, and I'm not a Memphis playoff believer. They have a great team, but they haven't showed me anything truly in the playoffs to making a deep run. Yes, John Morant is great. Yes, when he's out, this team doesn't miss a beat, and that's great. And this team, it loves defense too. It really sounds like everything a player or a fan would want to say. They'll probably do good in the playoffs because you take one piece out, they're all interchangeable as picking up of what they do. Brooks making headlines, punking everyone out. You got Bane, who quietly is still getting 25, 30, 35 points a game. Like, this team is good. Steve Adams, he's got to be the greatest wingman or best friend anybody could ever ask for. I mean, it doesn't matter what's going on. That guy is coming to your help to defend you. I mean, you could go up against probably 10 guys in some bar fight that you started up and shouldn't have said if you ran your own mouth. And there's Adam saying, hey, you need me? Let's go. And he's probably going to do it with a smile on it. Like, I don't know what it is. And I apologize, Memphis. Everything really says this is the team that America should love for what they bring. But I'm just not buying it. I just don't want to believe in you guys until you prove me wrong. You know, I usually call you guys the Gonzaga of the NBA. Like, you're supposed to be good or you're always up there. But it seems like you fail when it comes to playoffs time or March Madness time. I want you guys to actually do good because I love your all's mentality, the underdog mentality. We belong here. So I want you to at least know this, CJ, and everyone listening here. I don't think that they will do good, but I truly want them to do good. Is that at least fair to say? Because I love Bane. I think Bane should have been MIP last year. Oh, you could have brought you – I'm sorry. I just kept on going there.
Keep going. Yeah, keep going. Yeah, go ahead.
I just felt like Bane took a major leap last year in the MIP, even though your teammate, your superstar, won it. You should have won it last year. You're a good Robin that is still low-key. Like, Memphis is not this team that we see on television a lot. They're not aired a lot. So we really don't know much about them. And I'm guilty. If it's not a big game, sometimes I'm not going to catch most of it. And so maybe that might be a little bit of the hindrance on this is I see and I hear what they have and do, but to see a full game and see how they keep doing, I mean, really, you just didn't have your best player and you went on a 6-game win streak. Game back, and he comes back. And, of course, you all win. So that makes it to the 6th game. Your next games, you got Magic. So more than likely, it's going to be a 7-game win streak. You got Clippers back-to-back, Bulls, Trailblazers. We'll get into that, but that should be a W for you. Pelicans, Bucks, and Thunder. So there's a chance that you make this 7-8-game win streak if you take the first one from Clippers. I don't think you win both of them. Bulls will be a tough game because they're playing there. Trailblazers is a W. Pelicans, they floop the coop like the bird would, and the Bucks and Thunder is going to be a tough game. So they could still end out this run here of the last 7 games, winning 3 or 4 more games easily. So I think they're going to position themselves really well when it comes to starting the playoffs. But there's one of these teams that are in that 8, 9, 10, or 7, 8, 9, 10 that could do some major damage in that West. As of right now, the Pelicans, what I mentioned. You got the Lakers. You've got the Thunders that you play at the end of the year. And the Warriors could fall back into that 7, 8, or 9 spot. And I think that would just be detrimental to meet them in that 2nd seed or somewhere around there if that were to be it. So there you go.
I wouldn't go as far as to say the Grizzlies are the Gonzaga of the A. I can see what you're saying. The reason why I would disagree with that is because let's look at their trajectory since Ja got there, right? They didn't make the playoffs. Then they missed the play-in. Then they made the play-in, right? And beat Golden State to get into the play-in. And then last year they got bounced out in the second round. Had a tough first round against the T-Wolves. We thought T-Wolves should have won a few of those games, should have won the series, but they didn't win the series. They didn't get it done. Regardless of what happened, they didn't get it done. They couldn't get a fourth win. They got to the second round. They challenged Golden State. Ja got hurt. Ja had like 47 in one of those games. He was going crazy. They had no answer for him. There's no rim protection in Golden State. I mean, Draymond's good, but he's not a leaper. So that pain is sweet. That pain is sweet. That floater is there all day for Ja. And that's what he was doing. He was going to the basket at will. And they had a shot. Remember, they clapped Golden State by 55 without Ja. I wouldn't go that far. I would say the Sixers are more so.
That's my East.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. You know that.
Yeah, yes. I would say the Sixers is definitely the Gonzaga of the NBA. No question about it. But again, that's what I'm saying. They're probably looking at what I just said and like, listen, bro, if Ja doesn't hurt his knee, we maybe beat Golden State because Ja was going crazy. He was going crazy in that series. So the parity is crazy. The parity is definitely wide open in the NBA, in the Western Conference right now, and it's just going to come down to who has the best chemistry and who's really locked in, especially on that defensive end, man. That defense is so slept on now in today's NBA, and whoever steps up on that side of the court, bro, gets the stops at the right time, turns those stops into easy buckets. That's how you win these series, man. Those little things like that, getting offensive rebounds, crashing the glass, second chance points. Those win you series more than a guy just dropping 50. So I think Memphis have those type of players that could do those little things, and then they obviously have Ja that could do the scoring aspect and the playmaking. So I think they're in a great position. I really do. A couple of weeks ago, I just didn't know what the status of Morant was. I didn't know if he was going to come back, or I didn't know what was going to happen. Like, it was just everything just hit us in 1 week. All these allegations and accusations, and then the live. I was like, I don't know. I'm out. Like, I don't know. Like, it was just like, it's too much. I just can't do it. But now he's back. They're playing well. They could definitely be a problem for anyone in the Western Conference.
Just in case Nick is still listening, I want to ask you this. Now, if I go to it quick, you're going to know where I'm going. Okay, who has – I know I can't say it that way. I'm trying to figure out how I can say this so when I get to the punchline, I'm at there and Nick can be like, oh, my goodness, awesome. Bane, again, I'm high on him. I think he's a great player. Two-way player as well, knocking down and can still penetrate, and he's good all-around player. Early in his career, is he farther along than – because I think this is his fourth year?
This is year
third or fourth.
This is year three for you. You got drafted
in year 3, is he farther than where Jaylen Brown was in year 3?
Jaylen Brown got drafted 2019. Jaylen Brown got drafted 2016, 2019. Jaylen Brown. I would say they're about the same. I think JB made that. He made a big step 2021, 2022, 2020, 2021.
Yeah, turnovers went sky high.
Oh, man, you're crazy.
Big leaps.
Yeah, the 2020, 2021 was like, okay, he could average 20 something, 20 plus in this league easy. And then last year we saw the year he had, which led them, going into the finals. So I would say they're about the same. Year 3 Jaylen Brown versus year 3 Bane. I would say they're pretty much the same. That's a good comp right there.
Oh, thank you. Because I feel like Memphis is the Boston that's, this this undervalued team from a nation of NBA watchers that we kind of, even now, even though Boston's played so well, they're still under the radar to a lot of people. Like, they were in the finals last year and we're just like, it's still Boston. Like, are they going to get over that hump? it's crazy how they can't be respected so much. But I almost feel like Memphis is that way in a bit. Looking back, the draft picks, what they've done well, the trades that they've made, it's like they're very young, and you can see them growing right before our eyes to be the next powerhouse if they can keep it all together. And I just was going to ask you, because you know how I feel about Jaylen Brown. He can't dribble unless he has a knee involved in his dribbling skills. But I would take this. Well, I don't want to say that because that's reaching way too much. I'm capping my own self before it even comes out. But I don't know. I just feel like Memphis' future with a Jaw-led and a Bane Robin, I like that more than what I've seen of Boston, I guess, because, Boston, they kind of, in my opinion, made some errors and traded back on some players. Like Horford coming back to the team was huge from them. So I don't know. Who do you like better at the beginning of this quote unquote dynasty?
I can't.
And I use dynasty. I did these.
Gotta put some big
CJ. Don't you come at me on that.
Those have to be like those quotes have to be because I do see some similarities between the Celtics. So, shout out Nick. Shout out to I do see some similarities between the Celtics and the Grizzlies, homegrown guys, at the core. Really, but playing young, but playing well, and improving each and every year. The Grizzlies, second seed in the West last year?
Yeah.
So, and they're second or third, top three now. Still,
they're second right now.
Second again after everything.
That's what I thought you meant until you threw in the last year. It's like, oh.
Yes, they're. You would say they're probably progressing quicker than what we saw from Boston. It took longer for them to get it going, but they still had a couple Eastern Conference Finals appearances during this. I'd say Brown and Tatum have been a duo for this is year 6 now. Brown, Tatum got drafted in 2017, so this is 6 years now with this core, with this duo, and they've been in the Eastern Conference Finals, I believe, 3 times, if I'm not mistaken. Braun versus the Cavs, 2018, last year,
and then with the Heat,
and with Miami in the bubble. Yeah, so they've been the Eastern Conference. So
Mickey Mouse ring.
So they've been the Eastern Conference
Finals
three years out of the 6 years they've been together, and then one Finals appearance. So the Grizzlies have some work to do. They have some work. This could be the year they could get. That's what I'm saying. As I said, Western Conference Finals minimum for Memphis could be a good look. It's a really good look. So that's definitely a comparison I really didn't see, but I definitely see it. I see the similarities between both of these teams going forward. And again, it's just really going to come down to what Memphis does in this playoffs. I think they have a great opportunity.
Awesome. Sounds good. I said we keep on moving. Speaking of East and West, as far as which team of these young teams, we've got 2 Kings that battled out. Wow, you clicked before I got there. Love it. 2 Kings battled out, I think last night it was, 2 back-to-back MVPs in Giannis and the Joker, because I never say his name right. So Jokic. I want to say Jokic, but I know that's not right. Sorry, guys. Leave my Appalachian alone, okay? But went head-to-head. Great game. I got to catch towards the end of it. I'm sure you've got some highlights coming up here on my end. It's still loading. Because I'm going to say this. Looking at stats, they were kind of neck and neck. I think Jokic had more assists, like 11 assists, but Giannis had more rebounds. So it's really a couple of stats here and there was higher, but the other one won in this one. Who do you think had a better game?
Who had a better game? I would have to say Jokic. They got the W. That's what matters at the end of the day. And I believe the Nuggets are 9-0 when Jokic and Murray score 25 this season.
That's a nice stat.
So I think I saw that graphic earlier this morning. So
let me put you on top.
If that's the formula, it should be more consistent. It should definitely be more consistent. They're a talented team. They're a very talented team. They're number 1 in the Western Conference for a reason. They have a lot of depth. Jeff Green caught a body on Giannis. Crazy. He's good for that. He's good for that once a year. He'll catch a body on somebody at least 1 to 2 times a season. With that same straight arm tomahawk dunk. He's good for that. He's good for that. He's been athletic for so long, man. He's good. He's a really good role player. He always finds and makes an impact everywhere he goes. And they have guys like that. Michael Porter Jr. is playing well. Aaron Gordon was averaging 16 points per game at one point.
Oh wow!
Jamal Murray, we know what he did in the bubble, in that back and forth that he had against Donovan Mitchell in the first round, and we saw it up until.
I'm just coming on to
the Clippers series, and he did some really good things in that Western Conference Finals too against the Lakers that year. He's back. He's ready to go. If you missed it, shout out our guy Nick. Nick did a really good breakdown of the Denver Nuggets on our IG channel, MNC Hoops at MNC Hoops. Make sure you guys check that out. Check it out on TikTok as well at MNC Hoops. Make some great content over there, man. Nick Andre did a good job of talking about this Denver Nugget team, and Michael also did a really good job of discussing the Denver Nuggets and his top 5 teams that he thought that was going to head to the finals. Obviously had both of these teams in the top 5 because of the 2 players that we're talking about. And he had his concerns, the interior defense. That's my concern as well. What are they going to do if they match up against a team where the opposing team's best players are paint oriented guys like LeBron, like AD, like Sabonis potentially. He's more paint like Fox. Fox would definitely rather get to the basket, and once he starts getting to the basket, then everything else opens up for him. So Golden State, they like to cut, so it could be difficult. But all in all, they still have the depth to easily get back to the Western Conference Finals or the finals for sure. They have the opportunity to do that for sure. But defensively, man, those guys in front of Jokic have to really be locked in. They really do for 4 games in a series. That's going to be the question. Can they do that? Definitely have a possibility. We're going to have to see. This game, they did a really good job. They did a really great job this game of getting stops. I believe in the fourth quarter, they believe they had 40. I think they had 40 points in the fourth quarter. They went crazy in that fourth quarter to close the
32.
show. 32. Okay, 32.
They actually had 34 in the third as well, but
34 in the third. Okay. So yeah, they brought it home, and as long as their 2 guys are playing at a high level, they're always going to have a chance. It's just facts. They're just always going to have a chance. And Murray is the X factor, I would say, depending on how healthy he is, how ready to go, if he's ready to go. The sky's the limit. It really is, because look, I've said this a lot. I've said this often. What's the formula? Look at all the championship teams. What do you see? Mostly. I know Golden State anomaly, but you see a great inside guy and a great wing player. Magic Kareem, Kobe Shaq, LeBron and Wade, again, an anomaly a little bit, even though Bron was more paint oriented at the time. But you see LeBron and AD, you see wing big, wing forward, guard forward type style. So they have that. Bucks have it too with Middleton and Giannis. That's the formula. So they're always going to be good. If you have 2 elite players in that wing or power forward to center position, your likelihood of winning a bunch of games is always going to be high. So let's see what they do. Man. They might be the Gonzaga of the West. Really, I know they had a couple injuries. I know Murray missed some time. Yeah, a little bit. They just haven't been healthy enough for them to fold that much. So it's like we saw them fold one time, but we haven't really seen them like fold consecutive years like that. But I definitely could see where you're coming from as well. But it's a big year for Denver, because this is what we talked about, right? We said, listen, Jokic didn't have Murray last year. That's why they didn't win. That's why they got swept. Oh, that's why they lost in 5. Now it's no excuses. That's like my number one phrase over the last month or so. No excuses. Like just
we need a shirt.
No excuses.
Eagles,
MNC as the O on the no excuses. That would go crazy. That really crazy.
That'd be nice.
That'd be fine.
Sorry,
we're gonna brainstorm some apparel ideas after the show, but it's I like what I see right now from Denver. We'll see if we'll be able to keep it up during the playoffs.
Now I'm going to have to disagree with you a little bit though, because what I am worried about, and of course they're number one all season long. Basically, I would say 9/10 of the season they've been in the first place. They're still in the first place. I haven't looked and seen who they played for the rest of these 7-8 games, but they're playing well and they're a good in-season team. The only thing that I worry about is not too many times do a star big man, lead you to the finals or a ring. Now, when I say that, Giannis is a big man, but he's also a guard big man. Like, he's handling the ball. Like, a Shaq, number one, technically could never win a championship ring because you got to get the ball to the big man. You got to have that good guard play that's going to create something that can actually make the pass to the big man. That's one thing that I'm at least got a hiccup on, I guess, with the Nuggets.
But isn't that Murray though?
Well, that's what I'm getting at. I'm getting there with you, but that's my hiccup as far as Jokic, saying it so perfectly, being the main star on this team. Is when it comes playoff time, how are we going to get in the ball? In which he runs point sometimes too, so don't get me wrong. But, when they look the best, he's on the block with his back to the goal, and they run basically a right triangle if you want to. They've got that best shooter on the opposite side, so if they help down, they kick it out there and it's a three. But I think they can. I'm just a little worried about it. Now, here's where I disagree with you the most, and it's so strong on that. I don't think Murray is the X factor. I actually think it's Porter Jr. because we got to see what he's going to bring in the game. Defense, rebound, and some points. Like, again, Murray's going to have 25. Jokic is going to have 20 to 30 plus 10 assists with flirting with a triple-double. But who's going to be that second man that lead in rebounds, which you got Aaron Gordon as well, and who's going to be that third X factor that while they're facing Murray or your best guard defender. No. I guess I got to bring up the comment. I'm not saying MPJ over Murray. I'm saying that Michael Porter Jr. is the X factor. You know what you're going to get out of Murray. Like, he's the number 2 guy. I'm just saying that Michael Porter Jr. is going to have basically the third best defensive player on him. He should be doing more to help out because, you're going to be facing Murray. You're going to be guarding him, face guarding where he's not getting open to shots. You're going to be chasing him around screens and everything. And then you're really focusing in on Jokic on the block as well. So in my eyes, I'm thinking, okay, Michael Porter Jr., this is your year to basically step up and shine and be our X factor to give us those 25 extra points that maybe someone's not expecting you to step up and do. We went out and got Aaron Gordon to be that other guy too, but let's actually see you do this. Like, I'm just thinking, like, he's going to have probably no help defense. It's going to be one-on-one whenever he gets it. He needs to be attacking all playoff long. That's where I'm saying the X factor. Now, Nick, I'm not saying Michael Porter Jr. over Murray. I'm just saying he's the X factor.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, I agree. I agree with that. I agree with that. I was just looking at it when I said X factor. I was looking at it from the standpoint of yes, they need Michael Porter Jr. to be that guy that could complement Jokic and Murray, but it goes back to what you said originally of having that great guard with the great big, and as great as Jokic is, and he's a unicorn in that, he doesn't necessarily need a guard to get him the basketball. Like, he can start the break on his own and do it. He's their point guard. He's the point center. Like, people throw point forward and they throw that term loosely, but that's literally what he is. He's a point center. And So I get that, but they're gonna need that type of, they're gonna need those games from Jamal every once in a while. He's gonna have to have that 40-point game, that 35+ game, because if say Jokic doesn't have it going one night, say if he's in foul trouble, or he's not necessarily doing a great thing defensively, and he's not necessarily having it offensively, and he's gonna struggle. And who else is gonna step up? And obviously, I'm looking at Murray to be that guy because of what we've seen in the past. So Michael Porter Jr. for sure. He's gonna have to play well. He's gonna have to if they want to get to the Western Conference Finals, he should be around 17, 18 points per game, in these series, and root back to the Western Conference Finals. No question. 6'10", put the ball on the floor, 3-level scorer, knock down free throws, shoots threes at a really good clip. Mm-hmm. I'm with you. And maybe when he's with the second unit, he could kind of be that first option. When Jokic and Murray are out and on the bench, he could kind of do everything and be more of an all-around guy. But we'll see. But they have an opportunity to definitely get back to the Western Conference Finals. It's just a matter of, can they get those stops, bro? That's really what it is, man. That's my only concern with them. Is can they get enough stops? Yeah, that's it. Because they have everything else. They really do.
They really do. CJ, I'm just going to state a little bit of obvious here. When it's just you and me on here, this show seems to go pretty smooth.
Oh, don't do that.
I'm just saying this, that like if Nick was here, there'd probably be some type of outburst of something crazy going on. But here lately there's been a lot of outbursts going on, haven't they been? Can you name anyone else that had some random outburst against one of their one true guys? Oh, I know a guy. Can you talk to me a little bit about what happened here?
Yeah, let's pull up the clip.
Oh, a clip. Even better.
Let's pull up the clip for the people. For the
Nick, you really wouldn't outburst on us. You love us too, and we love you.
Let's pull up the clip for the MSC fan. This is clutch points. We have Randall here. This is at halftime against the Orlando Magic, talking to the ref, quickly trying to stop him. Quickly trying to stop him from talking, and he gets in Quickly's face, and then Johnny Bryant has to separate them, and then he goes back to the tunnel at halftime. Listen, Nick's Twitter is going crazy right now. They're talking trade Randall. I'm seeing
Nick, not Nick.
Nick's Nick's Twitter. New York Knicks Twitter, I should say. It's going crazy, saying trade Randall. I've seen Randall in trade packages for Luka. It's been pretty laughable on the Bird app for sure. But it's a concern. It's a concern. Obviously, you don't want to see this from a team that's really had such a great season. They really have. Am I like super concerned? Like, oh, the season's over. They could never work. He's a terrible guy. No, I'm not gonna go that far. Obviously, there's already fans that have their opinion on Randall. I only critique Randall when it comes to what he does on the court. I really don't care what he like. I don't all the other stuff. I don't really care about. Like, I just care about what he does on the court. Does he play well? Does he contribute to winning? Is this your friend? No, Jalen Brunson's our franchise player, brother. No question about it. Jalen Brunson is our franchise player. No question about it. I'm sure they've spoken and have had some words and got it together since then. Like, listen, this does happen. This does happen a lot. I think the bigger issue is a lot of these players have really been complaining to the refs quite frequently, more so than what we've seen over the last few years. They're going back and forth with the refs. We saw Fred VanVleet publicly call out a ref, and then the ref actually got reprimanded and got demoted from yeah, lost. And then we saw the situation with the Dallas Mavericks and the Golden State Warriors. Luka got fined for making the money sign. It's a bad look. It really is a bad look. My thing is, I always said is when did arguing with the ref help you? It never. I just feel like it just doesn't. Like, why would you want to argue with the ref? You should be cordial with them. If anything, going and getting in the back and forth with them doesn't help you. And then also what it does is it creates a reputation for not just those refs that are on the court in the moment, for future games as well. You don't think these refs discuss amongst themselves about these guys? You don't think they talk about Draymond and Dylan Brooks and Luka? Maybe now Randall, maybe Raul Randall's in that family as well. When it comes to guys complaining about calls, I don't get it. I just feel like there's a better way to go about it. Talking to these guys like they're children, I don't think that's the best method in trying to get your point across on the court. I understand emotions are high. You don't want to get fouled. You feel like you got fouled. You feel like you should be on the free throw line. I understand that, but you also have to understand the situation that you're in. He's a leader of the team. You just can't do this. You just can't do this, man. It's a bad look, but I'm not gonna completely rip Julius Randle because it just happens. We saw the Miami Heat situation last year. Jimmy Butler and Eric Spoelstra, they got into it. And then what happened? They ended up going to the Eastern Conference Finals, and Jimmy Butler was a 3-pointer away from them going to the finals. So I'm not gonna sit here and be like, "Oh, the world's over." Trade Randle. I'm not gonna do that. I'm not. Listen, Randall's time here has been a roller coaster for sure. That's probably the best way to put it because he got here in 2019. He took a chance on us. We took a chance on him, but he also took a chance on us. This Knicks franchise was dysfunctional from the top down. The people that were running the team had no clue what they were doing. And yes, the Knicks offered him the most money, but he still took a chance on this team, knowing the history of the franchise before he got there. These last 4 years, been an all-star. 2 out of those 4 years, been to the playoffs, going to go to the playoffs this year. So 2 playoff appearances in the 4 years that he's been here. That's just what he's just up and down. It's kind of just like it's kind of like how he is emotionally. Sometimes he's good, happy-go-lucky, happy Julius Randle, and then last year we saw the thumbs down, and then we see this. So you just gotta take the good with the bad, man. He's here for 4 more years. So unless there's a big trade down the road, which I really don't see, this is just the type of Randle that we're expecting. Obviously not this right here, arguing with your teammates, but he's gonna get emotional. He's gonna get upset. You just hope that this doesn't carry over to and gets to a point where it gets this bad. Because if you're doing this and you're on the Spurs, it's not a story. It's just not. It's just not. If you're doing those, it's not a story. But for New York, it's everywhere. It's on the front page, on the back page. It's on the radios, WFAN. It's everywhere. Everybody's talking about it. You just have to understand all of that when you're playing with the Knicks. You have to, and just even in New York in general, you have to understand what comes with everything, good or bad. You have to take the good and the bad. So if you can avoid situations like this, I think that's the best method. But they had 3 days. They had 3 days off after this loss. They play the Rockets tomorrow. I'm really interested to see how they respond. It's back at the Garden. I hope that's a get right game. I really do, because it's the Rockets. It's the Rockets. Come on now, let's not get crazy. So, everybody, Knicks, everybody is going to be interested to see how they play on Monday for sure, because these last 3 days have just been crazy on social media in regards to Randle. So, hope he comes out, has a good game, we win. And we get back on track, man. Like this, like I said, this has been a really good season. This little blimp right here, but I'm not gonna let it take away from what I've seen the entire year and the entire year he's had as well. He's definitely improved after last year. Jalen Brunson has been a big factor in that, no question about it. But he's definitely played well, and hopefully he locks back in, man. He, self-reflects, understands what he did right, what he did wrong, and just gets back into hooping. That's what's more important.
In my opinion, it just looks bad.
Right.
But I was kind of watching this a few times while you were talking. Not that I wasn't paying attention to you, but right there as it's playing here, he already told Quickly get off him once. He's got stopped by him twice. He's trying to fuss at the ref. Ref is not calling it or even giving attention. Already to you. Quickly's back in his grill, pushing him over here. Hey, and he finally just snaps and says, "I told you to get off of me." And then you can't see what they say again. So it's just one of them times that, hey, a dude is ticked. He's hot. And this little fly is still buzzing all over him. Like he's just snapping on him. I would love to be able to hear what went on in the locker room. I don't think this is going to be much after this game. Now, if they lose this next game, like you're talking about against the Rockets, it may kind of keep going a little bit. Another storyline like, you Quickly never passed it more than 5 times in a quarter. Maybe something went on. Back you. Oh, no. Nick, I'm not saying that Quickly did anything wrong. I'm just saying Quickly kept trying to defuse the situation, and the dude had already blew his fuse. So Julius was just looking for someone to yell out, and Quickly just kept being there. I mean, that's just all I'm saying.
Because you see Grimes, Grimes tried to come in there and help too, but then once he saw Randall's vibe, Grimes, once Grimes saw Randall's vibe, he's like, I'm out.
I'm not dealing with this.
I'm not getting in this. And quickly, like you said, quickly tried to defuse it. I don't know what he said, but I would assume is along the lines we need you in this game. We can't afford you to get ejected. Brunson was already out with the sore right hand in this game, so we need you on the court, man. And granted, in the second half, they played much better. They did play much. They still
you're talking. You're not even on the screen. I'm sitting here watching.
Okay. in the second half, they played much better. They still lost, but they just couldn't. They couldn't get it done. But yeah, go ahead.
No. That's just basically where I'm at. You see 3 or 4 players come over there, and I just think he finally snaps at Quickly. And you're a Knicks fan. I'm a Kentucky fan. Quickly played for Kentucky. Everyone's seen that. What was it? The rookie or upcoming All-Stars where they had that 2-on-2 where they did those things together. I can't remember who his teammate was, but there's the little Instagram clip where he says, "Hey, when they call our names out, I'm going to hug you." And that guy's like, "Nah, man, don't do that." He's like, "I'm going to put my arm around you." And as soon as they called him, he still did it. He makes those awkward situations, I guess. I don't know if it's just his personality, just where he's kind of in your face a little bit, a giddy kind of guy that wasn't the time to be around me. I know who you are. Julius, also another Kentucky player. I think Julius Randle just seen a guy that he could yell at too. In no form or fashion do I think Quickly is in the wrong. He was just trying to be the diffuser here. I'm happy to see Julius at least passionate about what's going on, but I'm with you, the money thing with Luka, the camera with Beverly, this going on, and I've said many times on our podcast, especially back in the summer when the Olympics and everything goes on, you never see these guys get those technicals during the Olympics. But as soon as they get back to the NBA, it's technical this, technical that. Someone just got their 18th technical. I can't remember who that was. Was it Brooks?
Might have been Luka, I believe. I believe Luka got his 16th technical.
Was it 16th? Maybe it was for that. But, it's just everyone's got some kind of argument to arrest. We've seen LeBron when he walked and got fouled on the layup that he lost to the Celtics with the camera back with Beverly too. He flopped around like a fish on the land, basically, about what went on. So I don't know. I was taught the only person that was to talk to a ref was the coach and nothing else. The only time I talked or addressed the referees if I had a question, never to argue a call. That does absolutely no good. And honestly, I truly think that when you talk down to a referee, all they hear and see is your number on your jersey, and they about to call another foul on you very quick on anything very little. That's my opinion.
But anyways,
Yes.
I hope you guys come back and win this next game and basically put everyone in their place. Like, hey, this is not that big of a deal. Like, heated moment in their careers, game making millions of dollars. He thought he should have got a call. Let's move on.
Yeah, fact. I just want to make one point too. In a way, I don't know what he's saying to the ref too. You don't know what he's saying to.
Yeah,
the
I can't
ref.
read that at all.
You know, Randall. He comes across as like, you know, a real like aggressive type guy that, you know, when you look at it, he's like, oh, he's angry all the time. I don't know what he's saying to the ref. Maybe it's a conversation that that he's having, and maybe he told quickly, like, yo, chill, like, get off me from the standpoint, don't make this look worse than what it is. Type.
You can see right situation. Here, say, get off me.
Right. So yeah, it's like, yo, like listen, like, don't make it worse than what it is. I'm just trying to have a conversation. That could have been Randall's. That could have been Randall's mindset when Quickly was doing that. And then you said he told you, like, that could be what he said. Like, he might have told his teammates in the locker room, like, listen, if I'm talking to the refs, I'm not trying to do it in a way that's trying to get me ejected or get kicked out of the game. When you start to come to me and try to, you know, rip me away from it, looks worse than what it is. So that could be a possibility as well.
True.
I think that's a factor that really no one's talking about, again, because people already have their, you know, conceived notions about Randall already. So they already assume, you know, this is just who he is. This is what it is. But it's a lot of factors. But like you said to finish your statement, tomorrow will tell us a lot. Tomorrow will tell us a lot, man.
I do think Randall look at the ref and says bull crap. Obviously not crap right here. But again, I kind of like your point, what you're saying. It don't look like he's really mad or aggressive. It's just right here as we watch this, he'll say something, and then the second one I think is BS right here. Bull crap. I think
but then look at the ref too. Ref's kind of telling him, like, you know, get out of, like, get out of
back
here.
Up.
Yeah,
hey.
Back up. So
got to read the room, man.
Got to read the room. Exactly. That's a great way to put it, brother. That's a great way to put it. All right. Let's transition to another topic that really just took me by surprise. Out of nowhere, really, seriously, out of nowhere. Mario Chalmers, former teammate of LeBron James, two-time NBA champion with the Miami Heat. He's on a podcast, and, you know, these players now, you know, the players have the podcast like us. You know, they come on they come on podcast and chop it up and talk about, you know, their past experiences playing with ex-player, going up against ex-player. And he made a statement talking about LeBron and saying no one fears LeBron James on the court.
In comparison with Michael Jordan.
In comparison to Jordan. So I want to start with you. Obviously, I will start with Michael here. Obviously, you know, Michael's criticized LeBron every episode pretty much since I've joined MNC. So, you know, when you first heard this, man, you know, were you like, yes, thank you, Mario? Or,
been saying it all along.
So,
okay,
go ahead.
Hearing, because when I see it on Instagram, I think the clip on it, I was like, well, where did this even come from? But, you know, everyone always has the debate, who's the greater, Michael Jordan, LeBron James. And, of course, the way Chalmers has taken it is everyone feared Michael Jordan because you didn't know what he was doing. He was coming at you, 2-dribble pull-up. He's coming over and dunking on your face. Or he's going to come over here, 2 dribbles to the left, push off with that other hand, cross back over to the free throw line, jumper. You know, you just did not know, or even put you on the post and do a fadeaway on you. Like, did not know what to expect. And he kind of went on and talked about with LeBron, like, 2 dribbles, or if he goes to the left, he's dishing it. If he goes to the right, he'll drive. Kind of like what I always say about James Harden, but vice versa because he's left-handed. And just basically was saying that nobody fears LeBron because you know what he's going to do. It's tough for me to say that nobody fears LeBron in the fact that LeBron has been there for so many years in a row. If it's from the East, if it's from the West, he's made it to the championship. Now, do I think LeBron James has a master in any skill whatsoever? No, but I'm not saying that in a mean way.
Whoa.
Hold up. Hear me out.
Okay.
I'm not saying that in a mean way. I think LeBron is great at all. Like, he's a great passer, he's a great shooter, he's a great penetrator, he's a great postman. But like, some of these guys are known for these moves. You know, Curry knocked down three. LeBron is not really got that patent move, in my opinion. Like, I think that sticks out more. And I might be, reaching for straws on what I think Chalmers is kind of meaning on this, because he even kind of compared Michael Jordan, the tongue out, coming at the free throw line, jump shot, or jumping up and switching over to the hands. Like, he had so many patented moves, the 2 dribble in, fade away out. But LeBron doesn't have that standout move that this is what he always does, and you can't stop it. I kind of disagree. LeBron is just so good. Like, he's going to back you down and dominate you. It works. Why change it? So, I can't follow him on that. So, Chalmers, I really think this is kind of a risque comment that you're making here to kind of just be back in comments or in conversations. Because, Dame even said on a podcast the other day, after 3-4 years after you get done playing, if you're not in the top 15 players, they don't talk about you anymore. And let's be honest, if Chalmers didn't make this comment, we probably don't even know who he played for last.
We're not. Nobody's out here looking for Mark. Yeah, nobody's out here looking for Mark. No.
So it's tough to say that nobody feared LeBron James, but I think it was easier to have a defensive scheme against LeBron than Michael. I'll say that.
In the beginning, it was. You look at what San Antonio did against the Cavs in 2007. They played a lot of zone. He wasn't the best jump shooter then, but he worked on that and developed. Yeah, he worked on that and developed his shot, and that ultimately led to him defeating the San Antonio Spurs in the NBA Finals 7 years later.
Ray Allen.
It takes a team. It takes a team, brother.
just hating. Gotta hate. Team, now he kicked me off the screen, people.
So I completely disagree with Chalmers' statement, because as great as LeBron is, you just look at how many players and teams he's eliminated from the playoffs en route to 8 straight finals. So you're telling me when you start a series against LeBron, you're telling me you're not thinking, listen, bro, this guy could potentially send us home. Is that fear? That's not rhetorical. I'm asking you. Do you view that as fear?
Okay. Well, you didn't have me on the camera, so I didn't know if you wanted to answer or not. You kicked me off here. It's got to be fear. Like, all roads go through LeBron to get to the finals in every year of his career, except for 2. First year in Cleveland, first year in Lakers.
This guy's been to the finals 10 years in his 20-year career. So
every other year. Wow.
Yeah, exactly. So it's just for him to say that, and then you won a championship with him, is crazy. That's I think that's the thing that doesn't
hurts the most.
Yeah, that's because bro, you weren't winning you weren't gonna win a championship if LeBron doesn't go to Miami. Period. You just weren't. They were a good team before LeBron got there, but they weren't an elite, one of the best teams in the Eastern Conference back then. I don't get it. Look at those Hawks teams when Horford was in his prime, when they had Millsap, Korver, Joe Johnson. They were good. Budenholzer was coaching those teams back then. They were winning 50 plus games, and they used to get swept every time they ran into LeBron, swept or in 5. All the time. The Bulls got the Bulls up out of there. Pacers with Paul George got them up out of there. Paul George had to leave and go somewhere else.
Raptors.
Exactly, and the Raptors to the point where they traded DeRozan to bring in Kawhi because they couldn't stop him. Ultimately, we know LeBron left the East by then, but they was like, listen, we can't we need somebody else. This duo is not going to get past LeBron, and it always happened. Every time they went up against Toronto, we always knew what the outcome was. Even when they had that subpar roster around LeBron in 2018, still packed them up. No Kyrie, no Kyrie. Wash Love, like, it was just
Wash Love.
Hey, listen. I mean, it's what we saw. It's what we saw. So. Teams and players definitely fear LeBron. And you said what's his patented move? What's his go-to move? I mean, it's just downhill. That's it. You can't stop him from going downhill. You just can't. He's gonna set the screen and get the mismatch. And if he's quicker than you, he's gonna blow by you. And if he's smaller, and if you're smaller, he's gonna baby you in any way fashion. That's it. That's okay. So because he could go out and score 30, 40, 50 if he wanted to. He could have had multiple scoring titles like Jordan did. Like this is the thing too with this. And I'm a big fan of Jordan. I really don't like getting into this conversation because it's really a cycle.
It's not a question.
Yeah. I mean, listen, I do favor Jordan, but it's just all preference. But
mentality.
You look at, I mean, you say mentality, but if you look at their averages, if you look at their averages, Jordan averages 3 more points, 2 less assists, 2 less rebounds, and LeBron averages 3 less points, and LeBron averages 2 more assists and 2 more rebounds. 27, 7, and 7 versus 35 and 5. So it's like, what do we like? Every time I see it, I'm just like, what are we really arguing about? It's just, all that shows me is like, if Jordan wanted to, get more assists, he could have. And if LeBron wanted to score more points, he could have. Like, that's all that shows me. So it's a pointless argument between LeBron and Jordan. I mean, just take whoever you want, and that's it. You're going to be successful. You're going to win a championship regardless of who you pick. Okay, one has 2 more than the other. Okay, cool. But they're still the greatest of their era. Period. There's no doubt about it. So it's just a pointless discussion, man. Teams definitely fear LeBron. Look at all the teams he's eliminated in his career. You don't think these scouts and assistant coaches are up trying to find ways to stop LeBron and win series, and even if they think they have the formula, they still can't stop it.
I'll even go as far as adding to you that some players left the West, went out East when LeBron went West. Like we had a big movement on that, and that's because they didn't want to go through LeBron. Now, I will say this. I'll be on the other side here. Do you think that Chalmers has an argument for the fact that there's always those other superstars that are teaming up with LeBron wherever he goes, as like, we don't fear him so much because he has to have this with? Now, I'm not saying that's what I'm saying. Do you think that might be something that he's going at it?
It just doesn't make sense. You need a team to win a championship. One man can't win a championship by himself. It's 10 players on the court every possession. It's just one. You need great players. Every single Hall of Famer had multiple, 1 or more Hall of Famers next to them en route to their championships. Like, why do we just not talk about that, bro? Like, Bird had Parrish and McHale. Magic had Kareem and James Worthy. LeBron had Wade, AD, Kyrie. He had Hall of Fame guys. You need Hall of Fame guys, right? But because he switched teams, Like, him and Kyrie didn't go to the same team every single time. But okay, if I'm gonna switch teams, I'm gonna need another great player next to me if you want to win a championship. That's just the formula of winning. Because we saw when he didn't have another all-star or great player next to him, he lost. 2018, Cavs. 07, Cavs. Yeah, of course. Did he fold against Dallas? No question. Never. To this day, I've never seen LeBron average 17. It was crazy. I couldn't believe it. But that's okay. That happened. Cool. But you still need talent around great players to win a championship. Look at all the top teams in the NBA right now. They got 1 or 2 guys or 3 that could get to it. It's just what it is. So that argument, it just doesn't make sense when the person that makes that argument already knows what it takes to win a championship. They just don't like LeBron, so they eliminate that logic to make their case because of how they feel about LeBron. And to me, that's lazy basketball analysis.
I'm with you. I agree 100%, honestly. LeBron, you're good.
You're good.
But if I was on the NBA team, I wouldn't fear you.
I mean,
He says,
okay. And then, and I'm not saying like, I'm not saying they're getting up like, oh my God, this guy LeBron. So these guys, they all have confidence. Every single one of the players in the NBA, they have confidence,
as they should.
But it's just levels when it comes to talent, and it's just what it is. So yeah, when you go up against LeBron and AD in the playoffs, you're like, you don't want to lose, and you're not going into there thinking you're going to lose, but you're doing everything you can to win because you know how great they are. So there's a little bit of a fear factor in that. It just is. So it's just, for him to come out and say nobody fears LeBron when they've won multiple playoff series together, it's just weird. It's just a weird take by a former teammate.
Not 3.
He was confident. He was. I mean, they got there 4 years in a row, 2 out of 4. But hey, listen, they don't get any if he doesn't pull up. They get 0.
Absolutely.
So,
but you know what I fear more than LeBron meeting him in the playoff? I fear
Damian Lillard's future.
Yeah. And this Blazer front office. What the heck is going on here? Like, the Blazers are shutting down Dame for the rest of the season. Like, apparently, Dame time is over. So, for the rest of the season. It fathoms me what is going on in Portland. And he's been doing a lot of podcasts here lately, or at least is catching a lot of social media.
A lot of time
on
his
his
hands,
podcasts that he's got going on. And some of the stuff that he's talking about, Dame, that is, of course, is how the NBA has changed since he's came into the league to where it is now, where with JJ Redick, I think it was, what is it, third old man or something like that, third and old man,
old
3
man
guys and old man, maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, old man in the
But he was talking about how when you come into the league when he was young, you had to basically earn your spot. Yeah, you'd have a roster spot, but like you had to get the respect of the players. You had to earn your spot in the rotations. You had to earn your contract. And now how even with like Chet coming in, they're already basically saying you're going to take over the Thunder organizations. You're our guy. And he's not even played 1 game. And how Dame is like, I don't want to play in the NBA where I'm chasing rings to prove who I'm going to be. And if you're not in the top 15, they're not going to talk about you anyways when you're done. And he's more or less content being in Portland for the rest of his career to just earn money. And I'm not totally mad at it. I used to be, but now I'm to the point that I kind of agree with what he's saying. Like, NBA now, and I'm not dogging it, don't get me wrong, because I have a podcast that I'll talk about it, is getting where we're turning the keys over too quickly, I think, to these young franchise possible stars. Like we got, I'm gonna say it. Oh, Nick's not here, so I can say it, CJ. Zion, who is the franchise of the Pelicans, has been in the league for what, 4, 5 years now? I think it's 4th year.
This is year 4, yeah.
And he's not played but maybe 1 full season.
Has not played a full season. He's averaged 28 games a season.
Averaged 28 games a season.
Not 28 points, 28 games.
Oh, I thought you said games. I was like, oh my goodness. I was like, wow. So when he's healthy, he's great. But he just ain't healthy. He can't stay healthy. He's AD of the East Coast. But Zion deserves the keys because of his limit that he had, or his ceiling, is extremely high. And if he can put it together, if he can stay healthy, I don't know, go to Antarctica, get frozen for for 3 months and come back out where you're all great. I don't know what he needs to do. But some of these younger guys, it's almost like, hey, just take over the franchise automatically. We're building with you. And they don't have to prove, they don't have to have that respect. They don't have to earn anything from the older guys. And it's changed. And I'm an old head. I know that. I'm 37 years old almost in like 3 weeks. I I know who I am. That's okay. So I respect what he's saying, what he's coming from. He's kind of in the NBA in this transitional period. But Dave, can I ask you a personal question here, live in front of everyone, whoever follows us on YouTube or Facebook or anything like that? Can you maybe cut back a couple $1 million to try to sign a couple better players that could come help you out to where you can be relevant up there? Or is it just, let's just go with what we got and make as much money as we can? Because personally, you know, Tom Brady took a lot of pay cuts to keep teams together so he could win rings after rings after rings. I'm not saying that I don't want you to make as much money as you can, but I'm just saying maybe making incentives where, hey, I'll cut my salary back to this where you can sign other people, but I get these bonuses if we make it to the finals, or if I score so many points or so many three-pointers I make and leads so far. Because you are probably number 2 best three-point shooter at the point guard position that we've seen in a very long time, probably in a decade or two.
Ever. It's Sim and Curry. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Okay.
That's it. So three-point shooting at point guard position, it's just those two. Yeah.
And we're not ever going to see him go far in the playoffs. And it saddens me. It's almost putting him at the Dan Marino of the NFL or of the NBA.
Charles Barkley category, yeah.
Like, he's great. He's, 6'3", and still does everything that he can. I mean, there was a play the other day where he picked up his dribble, 6 feet past the half-court line, and everyone backed off, like, okay, let's defend the passing lanes. He's like, why not? Nothing but net from there. The man is unreal. We need you to have a good Robin. Now, Sharp might be that guy, but it's going to be 2 or 3 more years before we can find out. And he make that leap. We were talking about Bane earlier, who's in his 3rd year. That's up there. So, I mean, we're looking at 3 years. And Sharp, who should have came to Kentucky, who should have been on our roster this year, is a year behind everyone else. So, I'm going to say he needs 4 or 5 years to catch up because he's 19. He's young.
Yeah, he's young. Yes.
That's my problem. What are you thinking, CJ?
So you made a lot of points. You made a lot of points in there.
I made a lot of points and they were good.
that I want to attack real fast. So
kind of slow.
So you talk about the pay cut, right? You say she take a couple dollars off and give it back to the Blazers because as we saw with Brady, as we saw with Tim Duncan, probably for an NBA example, taking less for the betterment of the team, right? So I mean that's situational. I would never take less money ever, especially when it's a $1 billion corporation. They make billions of dollars annually. I'm not taking anything. If you offer me, a 2-year extension for 122 mil, which is what he got offered, taking that. If you offer it to me, I'm gonna sign it. Yeah, you crazy? Generational bread. The difference with Brady is the NFL is a hard salary cap. So he had to just by default in a way, he just had to give up money for the betterment of the team. But even though a lot of NFL players don't do that, they still take their contracts max guaranteed, all that. Brady was selfless like that because his situation, he didn't feel like he needed it. Every player is different in that perspective. NBA is a softer cap. We look at the Warriors are like $500 million in luxury tax. They don't care. They just want to win championships. So I'm not taking. Why would I take money? Why would I take less money? Why would I take a pay cut when I'm seeing a team in the same conference as me? They have an owner that's willing to go $500 million in luxury tax. It's not happening. It's not happening. I'm not doing that. Here's my thing with Damian Lillard, man. It's just you say you don't want to chase rings. Nobody's asking you to chase rings. Like fans are not asking you to chase rings. What we're seeing a franchise in the Portland Trailblazers. They don't have any urgency. Where is the urgency? They have one of the best players in the NBA. He averaged 32 and 7 this year. 32 and 7, and they're not even in the playoffs. How is a guy this talented can't get to the playoffs? It's crazy. Crazy. Makes no sense. So this will be his second year in a row where he's not in the playoffs. And then the last year he was in the playoffs, they lost in 5. It's just that's what we're talking about. You trade CJ McCollum, and you've done what after that? Nothing. They haven't done anything. Okay, yeah, I know they re-signed. They re-signed Anthony Simons. They picked up Shaedon Sharp. You would hope I hope they make leaps next year to where he'd want to stay, and then you have a really good team. You got your core guys, even though Dame's older, but you got 2 younger guys on the come up, but still ready to go right now. That's best case scenario. But right now, it's tough to see. It's tough to see that, and I'm not going to assume that's going to happen. It's just why didn't the Trailblazers try to go get Kevin Durant?
I don't know.
I don't get it. Why were they never in the discussions to get KD? Even when KD was a free agent in 2016, I remember there were talks about him going to the Trailblazers. Fell through. Never happened. Didn't happen. So we're not saying, yo, Dame, go to this team, go to that team, and chase rings. We're saying we're looking at the team you're playing on right now, and we don't see from the front office, we don't see that same work that you're putting in on the court from them to put better players around you to win. Period. This is a wasted year. This man averaged 32 and 7, had a 71-point game. This is wasted. It's a wasted year. It just is. What do you play for? You say you want to win a championship. Okay. So why is the team you're on doing everything possible to help you win a championship? That's what we're talking about. It's just so weird to me that they just haven't done it more than enough to surround him with the proper talent for them to be in playoff contention. It's weird. Just all these teams have surpassed them over the last 2 years. The Kings, the Grizzlies, OKC. We think as soon as they get Chet, it's over. It's over.
Even the Pelicans, where one of your players went to.
Pelicans when their players are healthy, of course, for sure. When OKC gets right, when Chet gets there, it's over because that's what they need. They need a rim protector, and he's a 2-way stretch 5. It's perfect. As soon as he gets there, if he's healthy and ready to go with SGA and Giddey, it's a wrap. It's a wrap. Why haven't they done the same thing in terms of surrounding this man with superior talent? It's great. Knowing in the Western Conference that's what you need to win. Getting swept by the Golden State Warriors in 2019, even though being up in the fourth quarter in every single one of those games. I don't get that front office. I really don't. But he doesn't want to leave. He wants to stay. And I understand, the city, they embraced him. He wasn't supposed to be this good. Maybe he got drafted out of Weber State. He wasn't supposed to be this good. And then they accepted him and I understand why he wants to stay. He wants to do something special there. They haven't won a championship since 1977. That's a big deal. If you're able to bring that chip to Portland, that puts you in a whole different stratosphere, not even just from Portland, Oregon sports, just sports in general, especially in the NBA. We always appreciate the guys that stay with one team and win that championship with that team. But if I'm at a job and my employer isn't doing everything possible for me to be successful, I'm going to look at other options. And that's all I'm saying when it comes to Damian Lillard. I'm not saying chase rings and go, but if it's like, yo, if this team isn't doing everything possible for you to be successful, and the success is winning a championship, you're just gonna sit here and waste your prime because you don't want to be deemed as a ring chaser. That's I don't get that. I don't get that mindset. I really don't.
And my point as far as taking a pay cut, because, he just signed the deal, I think, last year. So, I mean, he signed with them, as you can see here, shout out, no trade clause with Aaron Washington and everything. But in 2028, he's going to be at $58 million for that year. In the next 5 years, basically, he's going to be making almost $300 million. And that's just – I'm rounding up quite a bit. LeBron James is making a little bit more than Dame this year. I think he's at 46 or 47 million. So not going there on that. The man deserves it. He got it. That's great. But they're already 20 million over the cap space. And the hard cap, they're at 12 million. So they're close to that. They're projected at 24 million next year. So you're looking at 50 million in the next 2 years. So the next 2 years after that, you lose a couple contracts where you're in the good, and then you're back in the red again. So in the next 5 years, you're looking at being $50 million in the hole of cap space. That, to me, is a problem because who's their second best player, in your opinion?
Right now?
Right now.
I would say Simons. I would say
Simons?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. He's the second most paid at 22 million, and he's in 4 years.
I'm saying you gotta get off that Nurkic contract, man. You have
Nurkic is costing you 15, 16, 18, 19, and 29 million.
Got to get off that.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. But
just it doesn't impact the game enough for me.
And then some of these other players that they have on this roster, it's like it's filling people. You've got Kevin Knox, Justice Winslow, for people who may not know that's who I'm talking about. Cam Reddish. It's just like it's some people, even Jeremy Grant, which I think he's still good. I'm not on that one, but
he's good, but he could leave.
Right. I think next year he's out. And they traded for him. So it's like they're making some options that make no sense and add more to their cap. So not much of a future, really. Let's see here. Reddish and Thibault, 3 years. I mean, really, your future is going to be Keon Johnson and Shaden Sharp with Lillard, who's been there for 10 years.
Simons.
And Simon's he's at 4 years.
Yeah.
But still, that's their future. I'm saying investing future, these young guys that you can develop and keep on going. Johnson's 1 year and Sharp this is rookie year. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, those are two good building blocks, but I don't see how you're going to have that with Lillard. To me, the front office needs to sit down and say, hey, Dame, we want the best for you. Yeah, you can stay here, make these millions of dollars, but you're already signed to that contract. We want to talk about trading you for the better of you, and so we can have a future as well. Send Dame somewhere where you can get some young players and really dive into this rebuild.
They don't want to do that because he brings people to the games.
He does.
So he makes them a lot of money. So that's why. That's why they haven't done that yet. And I feel like that's kind of what he's doing right now. He's kind of doing a situation where it's like he's kind of really forcing them to say, yo, we're going to trade you, like you just said. That's what he's forcing them to do. Pretty much, yeah. Because he said, I'm not going to leave. Well, somebody's going to have to give up first, wave the white flag first, and he's hoping this is Portland. That's really what that sounds like to me.
Do you think it's come down to almost a pride thing now? Like he's ran on this horse saying, "I'm loyal, I'm dedicated. I've been here for so long. I've invested so much of my money into the community that even if he wanted to leave, like he said it so much, he'd feel guilty leaving."
I mean, if that's how he sees it, then that's how he sees it. I can't. Who am I to tell him how to feel, right? But I'm just, from my perspective, it's just, man, you're so talented, and you're averaging 40 points, in the span of a few months. Trying to win games and trying to get them in the play-in contention. but that's what you're fighting for. You're averaging 40 to get into the play-in. What? Averaging 40 to get into the play-in. That sounds crazy. Damian Lillard, really?
Yep.
Yeah, that's so. I just, like you said, Trailblazers. They're gonna have to come together this offseason to be like, what's our future with Dame? What do we want to do? Do we want to keep him? Do we want to build around him? Do we want to make a big trade, make a big splash for a player, maybe a Beal, something like that, and try to do something and try to get into this playoff contention? Or you just want to rebuild around Simons and Shaedon Sharp and be like, yo, this is going to be our new back. This is going to be our Dame CJ 2.0 for the next 5 years. And then Dame, we love you, but you've done great things. Like you said, you've done great things for us in Portland. But
we'll retire your jersey.
Of course, no doubt.
But it's time for you to take care of yourself.
He's 32, man. He's 32, and like,
it's not you, it's me.
He got it. I'd probably say like this next 4 years. It's crucial, man. I just, as a fan of his, I don't want him to be in that Barkley conversation. And
he's there.
And it's like right now, you're right. He is right now. But I don't want that to be his career, man. I really don't. So we'll see what the Trailblazers do. That's really what it is. What the Trailblazers do. Because like we said, it's not Dame. Dame is not going to ask for a trade. He's not.
Well, there's 7 games left, and I just went on Bleacher Report, and of course you can go to the NBA standings, and they have the tank. I didn't think about this. Technically, in the tankathon, if you will, they are 6th at that first pick. Magic is ahead of them by half a game. The Hornets are at 4th at basically 8 games. So I don't think they catch that. Maybe they're just trying to position themselves the best to get Wembanyama. Because if they could get him, then hey, let's go.
Yeah, let's go. Right. Trade Nurkic and then let's go. You know what I mean? But that's what you're banking on as a franchise? That praying that you get Wembanyama? I just when you already
I'm
got
with you. I'm just trying to understand what they may be doing.
What's Lillard? Top? Some people may see him top 10. Some people may see him top 10. I mean,
of all time?
No, right now. Whoa. Right now.
Okay. I was like,
no. I'm not.
Some people, they might be crazy if they say that. But okay.
Top 10 right now.
CJ, I thought I was going to come at you on that one.
Nah, I'm not. Come on, this ain't.
That's a top 10.
It's not these other shows.
All
these
time?
other shows. We think logical on this side. So it's just like, man, you're a arguably top 10 player. And you look at all the, let's say he's 10, right? And look at the 9 players above him. They're all in the playoffs. It's like he's the only top. You want to be the only top 10 player not in the playoffs? Really?
Man,
wow. So I don't know. I don't know what's gonna happen. I really don't know what's gonna happen. It's just a weird scenario right now, and I'm pretty sure maybe some Trailblazers fans are torn because of course they want to see Dame there, and they probably want to win. They want to see Dame win that championship for them, but. If it's not going to work, it's not going to work. This conference is way too stacked to be stagnant. It's just too stacked. Look at, like I said, the Suns and the Mavericks. I know the Mavericks, they're struggling right now, but at least they were aggressive and made a move and did something. Is it going to work out? Time will tell. Doesn't look like it right now. Even KD. I mean, just KD's not going to play 82 games for the rest of his. It's not after the Achilles. He's just going to have lower extremity injuries for the rest of his career. I mean, that's just
you have to have 2 superstars.
Period. You have to.
At least
in the West. No, in the West, you need 2. Period. You need 2. It's a given. Look at it. Look at all those teams that came out the West. They had at least two. So, and they know that. These teams know that. They're not that dumb. I would hope not. So, I And unless they're in they're hoping and praying somebody wants out on one of these other teams, and they're like, okay, we got the assets, we got the picks or whatever to make it happen.
Mm-hmm.
Cool, but if not, I truly do not know what the direction is for the Portland Trailblazers, and I don't know what's going to happen next with Damian Lillard, man. I really don't.
I don't either. I think it is a money business up there in the P. Can I say that? Like, I mean, every time you say something like that, it sounds great and cool. I'm trying, man. 3.
Yeah, but see, I only say it just for the NBA though. That's the thing.
I know.
That's just how we grew up and said the A. We just call it the A.
But it's not the Apple, just so you guys know. When he says the A, it's the NBA, not the Apple. But anyways, with that being said, I think it's just, at the end of the day, it's a money business for them in Portland, and we just got to accept that. Dame's putting butts in the seats, and they're paying him to do it, and they're happy. I don't think either one of them thinks a ring is anytime near in the future, but as long as that green is in their billfold, I think they might be happy. And Dame is a contender. I'm not questioning that at all. He's a competitor, not a contender. So, yeah, I think it's playing to him a little bit, but I think at the same time he understands the business side of it.
Yeah, I'm sure he doesn't like the criticism, but it's like, bro, you're getting criticized because your employer is just
trash.
Yeah,
garbage.
Just inconsistent, bro. Inconsistent. They have no vision. They look like a franchise with no vision.
Yeah, they look like Orlando Magic of the past.
But
now they actually have a vision.
Yes, right. It's just like there's even the teams that they're significantly worse than them you see a little bit of light at the end. Portland, no clue. Free Dame. I mean, he doesn't want to be free, bro.
Yeah, he is free.
He's free, bro. He's making 58 and 60 something mil. He's free. He just doesn't. He don't want to be. He doesn't want to leave, bro.
Let's try to think, because and granted, we're up 2 hours. We probably need to go ahead and wrap this thing up.
Yeah.
What other franchise or team is in this situation that has that veteran star that is, I'm going to say, stuck on a team that has the franchise for what it is going in the opposite direction compared to the rest of the teams going in a forward motion? Washington?
Yeah, exactly.
Was that
Bill? Yeah, that's because all the other guys leave, bro. Like they're not just gonna sit here for 8, 9 years like the old generation, stay there for 20 years, and while the franchise is like, oh, he wants to be here. He's putting people in seats. We're gonna keep him here, like, and that's it. Like for these old heads to just be jealous
Portland in Washington.
Portland and Washington. Yeah, right. It's crazy, right? for them to be jealous of these guys for leaving or upset, or you're chasing rings and this is. And I'm not chasing rings. I'm just trying to put myself in a better position to win. I'm not just gonna if I'm seeing the franchise, they're not doing enough for me to win. I'm going to leave, bro. Like I said earlier, if I'm at a job and my employer isn't doing everything possible for me to succeed, I'm going to look at other options. That doesn't make me a traitor. Because everybody could, and that's the thing too. It's like on a bigger level, this is basketball. We just talk basketball, but on a bigger level, it's like we look at these players bigger than what they should be looked at, bro. They're just they're talented individuals in their field. Mm-hmm. That's it. Like that's really just what they are, bro. They're talented guys in their field. They're talented entertainers, and that entertainment creates a lot of capital.
Absolutely.
That's all. If we just looked at them like that, I think there would be much more common sense and logic in some of these discussions when we talk about basketball. But sometimes we think this is like 2K. It's like, oh, he's a traitor. How could he leave? This I'm like, yo, bro, you just left your job like three weeks ago. What are you talking about? You're a traitor? What are you talking about, bro?
You make great points on that, honestly, because really I even think back with, people give Kevin Durant such a hard time for when he went to the Warriors and won his first ring. But at the same time, he basically took a promotion and became the lead of his business team while everyone was veterans there and could run the ship himself. Just you were the star of it. You were the general manager, basically, and you got your ring. And then you moved on to another business entity to do it again. So, I mean...
Right. He took control of his career. The first time when he went to Golden State, it worked out. Brooklyn, not so much. Phoenix, question mark. So, I mean, listen, like, okay.
Whoa.
I mean, yes. I mean,
question to be determined. To be determined.
Right. That's what I'm saying. The same thing. Right? We don't know yet. We don't know because he's just been out. So, cool.
Some people like to travel.
Some people like to travel. Some people just like, take control of their career and just do it and just be an individual. Like, wow. Again, it's so weird with people. They live. I think they really what they do with sports is they try to separate it from reality, which is so weird to me. Like, bro, this is real life. Regardless of the goals, you have a boss. You're an employee. You're doing a service. You're getting paid for it. It's just more money in this category, and it's entertaining. That's the difference. Like, it's not just I guess a blue collar regular job or whatever. It's not seen on TV, so no one cares about that job. But in principle, it's still the same thing.
Right. But with that being said, though, if Dame's happy where he's at,
cool.
I mean, we can't really be upset with him. Hey, you're happy in your position. You're happy with the money you're making and what you're doing, and you're happy with the outcome. More power to you.
More power to you. You want to be 13th in the West for the rest of your career? Have fun, brother. Straight like that.
Millions to be mediocre.
Hey,
understand?
Cool, bro. If that's what you want to do, great. That's the true beauty of capitalism, right? I don't want to get too crazy. You know what I mean? Free market, not controlled, But cool. If that's what you want to do, great. That's your prerogative, bro. Great. I'm just saying, as a supporter, as someone that's a fan of your game, and I'm like, from a competitive standpoint, it's like, man, bro, I'm just looking at all the talent, and I'm just like, bro, you're better than most of these guys, and they're just on better teams. So man, I don't know, bro.
Could you imagine if Dame started out, and I'm just going to say this for you, in New York? How much better people would think he was?
Oh man, it'd be crazy.
I mean, they already think Brunson's hung the moon, right? I mean, you put Dame in that. Whew.
Yeah, exactly. It's just, and the one is it's the New York point guard connection. Obviously New York and point guards always have a special connection, as we saw with Marquise Noel. Shout out Marquise, Harlem native. So it's just, so yeah. If he got that about it, if he was doing this in New York, are you kidding me? 71 in the Garden? Yo, they built a statue already. If that was the case,
because it wouldn't even be a discussion top 10 if he played for New York.
What you mean top 10? Like in the A?
Yes.
Oh,
you said, like, if he was playing for New York Knicks right now, doing what he did there, he would easily be in everyone's top 10.
Easily.
But since it's Portland and it's not seen and they're mediocre,
West Coast,
it's overshadowed.
Yeah, West Coast. A lot of people don't watch the games.
We in bed by then, dog.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I get it, but still, all in all, whether it was the Knicks, Trailblazers, doesn't matter. It just matters of who's running the show at the top, and what are they aggressive in their moves? Are they logical with their moves? And I don't see those two things for the Trailblazers front office. I just truly don't.
Is there anyone else other than Bradley Beal in Washington? And we can't say Ben Simmons.
I'm upset he even made it on the show tonight, bro. Oh my gosh. That guy.
Try to go through all the teams.
I'm telling you, they leave. They leave.
Yeah. I mean,
remember Booker was a couple years ago. Booker was in that, but then they what did they do? They got the right coach in there. They got the right executive. They got the right executive in there, and James Jones. and James Jones made some key moves. Okay, they won 64 games last year. Okay, so what? We're still gonna go get KD.
I would say Charlotte a little bit.
For who?
Even though they're
yeah, it's young. Yeah, he's still young.
Well, just the fact that we don't know where they're going. Like, I don't feel like they're improving, which Melo's been hurt quite a bit.
Yeah.
And so I feel like, I guess they're stagnant. I mean, they still have the potential to keep going, especially if they get Wembanyama. And then you can see where they're going with that. So, I mean, I would say maybe Charlotte is about to enter into that to say, hey, what are we actually doing here? But other than that, I can't think of any other team.
Can't think of any other team because, again, like I said, these players, they're not just settling. Like you said earlier, they're not settling, bro. Like LeBron was.
I want to say this. Maybe Miami?
Nah, I don't think so. I don't think so.
Okay.
Because
that makes me happy. Thank you.
They hit a rough patch in the season. They lost to Brooklyn the other night, but I don't put. They just, like I said, Jim Pello if he makes that three, they're in the finals. So
right.
that's not even the same stratosphere as someone like Dame and the Trailblazers. Dame
but I just feel like they haven't improved. Like the past 2 seasons, it's been the same units. And everyone else is improving and getting better. Like Miami's that team that said, hey, let's bet on ourselves. And they're 7th in their conference right now.
Right. Yeah.
I'm fine. We don't have to put them in there.
No, they're not. No, they're not in there. They're not in there at all. I wouldn't even. They're not even in there. They're not in that category at all.
Hawks.
There have been talks. There have been talks about Trey potentially being traded.
Here's one. The Bulls.
Oh, I mean, they just signed Levine they just gave Levine an extension this offseason that just passed. So they just signed DeRozan 2 years ago. So I mean, they're trying.
I made a mess.
They're trying, man. They're trying, but man, I would probably say after next year for Chicago. If they're not top 7, because it's tough. It's tough for me to see them crack the top 4, or definitely not the top 3. If they're not at least in that 6-7 range, potentially, getting up there, it's time. It's time. But I think for them, they need a new head coach. Like I've said this plenty of times on MMC. Like just Billy Donovan, it's not that
Caruso.
guy.
They're missing Caruso.
Like Caruso's there.
Well, but they've missed him quite a bit.
No, they missed him, man. Like, and they playing better defense now with Bev and Caruso. That's their calling card. Both of those guys is defense.
Yeah.
So if you got two guys that are really good perimeter defenders, it takes DeRozan and Levine don't have to do as much on that side of the court. You could throw Bev and Caruso on the opposing team's best guys. That's why it's been working for them. But they still, again, Vucevic, pick and roll defense, non-existent.
Well, I think that's about got us. We're over 2 hours. We had some great content, great conversation. I had some great points as always. You had some good points.
Some good points.
Okay. But CJ, where can everyone find you?
Yeah, so you can find me on Twitter like you see on the screen right there for our viewers at CJames9_. IG CJ.James9. But more importantly, man, check us out on MNC Hoops. MNC Hoops on TikTok. We're on TikTok now. Doing pretty well, man. Appreciate everybody.
It is exploding.
Yeah, we're blowing up right now. We're getting a lot of traction, a lot of love on TikTok. We appreciate that. Instagram as well. Facebook. We're really dropping the content on these social media apps. So yeah, MNC Hoops on everything, anything that you're on, any app that you use, go to MNC. But more also YouTube as well. YouTube, we're trying to get this YouTube views and likes up there also. So MNC on YouTube, subscribe, hit that notification bell. When you hit that notification bell, hit the arrow drop button and go to all. So you can see whenever all of us go live, whether it's the shorts, whether it's the clips, or whether it's the live stream videos like you're watching right now, man. So yeah, just appreciate the support so far, and we're just gonna keep it going, man, and just keep rocking.
Absolutely. You can find me at MDLawson00. but I don't care if you follow me. You just follow anything MNC Hoops,
Yes, sir.
and it'll make me happy anyways. But if you forget anything we've ever said on this show about where you can find us, listen into this as it scrolls across the bottom. Go to linktree.com or linktree/MNC Hoops, and you'll find us on everything. So go to the Linktree with the /MNC Hoops, and I'll have everything that we're connected to on there. And go follow us on everything and blitz it like big time. Just want to give a quick shout out to CJ. As always, you're killing it this week with all the videos that you've been putting together for us. I really do appreciate it. Like you referred to earlier, I did a top 5, just a voiceover, and CJ did the clips, putting everything together. Wonderful work on that. Nick did a talk about the Nuggets. You should have heard his blooper that he did. It was hilarious. But his voiceover on that, and CJ is the one that's been putting everything together. So I appreciate everything you do for us, man. And you're taking us to the moon single-handedly on that. And just can't wait to see where we go in this next year. But, guys, thank you all so much. Be sure to follow us on podcasts. It's going to be up probably tomorrow or the next day, maybe even twice. Who knows? Because, CJ did that last week, and then I did it after him. Yeah. So who knows? But, guys, thank you all so much for tuning in. Thank you for all the comments that happened on here. We appreciate it. And you guys have a great week.
Deuces for my guy,
Deuces.
Nick. Yes, sir.